and make everyone happy and doing well in sales and pushing the products.
Great, thanks, Preston. I've already introduced myself, so we're going to go ahead and move on from there since I've already introduced myself once. And for all of you that are wondering, I did find my record button, so we are recording. So I found it, which is great. We can capture this for prosperity. So, um, you know what? We didn't put this text in, so we were going to talk here about what a cloud service brokerage in, and I had some Gartner text I was going to fill in here, Preston, and I didn't do it. So no big deal. I'm going
You
to
know,
let you go ahead and talk about it.
I'll say it's funny you say that because I have it right here. And according to Gartner, and this is kind of what we use as a standard up there, a cloud services brokerage is more or less it's an IT role and a business model in which a company or an entity, obviously we add value. It's kind of that value-added reseller, that VAR model, to one or more. It can be public, private, or hybrid cloud on behalf of a consumer or a business, if you will, that services via three primary roles. And those three roles are going to be aggregation, integration, and the customization brokeraging. So we're going to find the solution for our clients. We're then going to integrate all the solutions together, all the different pieces of the puzzle, and then we're going to customize it to make sure that everything works and is exactly how our client needs it.
Great. So when you look at Gartner though, and they have their term and stuff, how do you view it a little bit different than what they're talking about? I mean, you get into probably a bit more than what they talk about, or a little bit less.
Right.
So
No, definitely. So we don't stop there. We actually we consider ourselves, if you will, a one-stop shop for the business. For this, and we personally we work with small business, nonprofits, and startups with less than 250 employees. And so what we're going to do is we're going to sit there and we're going to ask a detailed interview of questions, if you will, to our client. We really like to get to know our clients, their needs, their wants, where they are, where they think they're going to be, and their business model. And in general, we get a really granular idea of what we're working with. And then based on obviously those first couple meetings, we kind of prepare for sake of argument for them, we tell them that that we're creating their quote unquote their cloud, and what we do is there's certain items with that every business needs. Every business, you need a way to be able to go ahead and manage your clients. You're going to need some kind of a CRM. You're going to need a way to contact your clients. You're going to need a VoIP and a hosted PBX solution more than likely. You're going to need a whole bunch of different things, whether it's accounting, inbound marketing, email marketing, a help desk, a website, and so we find all the needs that they need. And then we start piecing the puzzles together. We will take the CRM. Let's say, sake of argument, we'll say it's a Salesforce solution that works best for that client. And then we'll go and we'll say, so there, Salesforce is the CRM. That's the base of how we do everything. We then say, okay, they're going to need, let's say, Crescendo for a VoIP solution. Well, Crescendo, is very, very well integrates with Salesforce. So we find all of these pieces, we integrate everything together for them, and then we implement their workflow, their business model, their data into that solution. We then go ahead and then we actually don't stop there. We will then train them on the solution that we've created for them. That way they know how it works, and then we then give them the option to either they can take the keys and run with it, or we will offer an MSP style offering to where we'll actually manage the back end of that business for them, the solution for their business if need be. Mrs. Claus bakes cookies, I always say, and because she's passionate about it and she loves doing it, she's great at making cookies. She may not be so good at running her CRM or running her email marketing or running her inbound marketing campaign. That's where we can come in and we kind of add that extra touch to it. And then, again, we, as most partners do, we offer level 1 support throughout all the solutions. That way, Mrs. Claus only has to, call us and then say, "Oh my gosh, my emails are going to the wrong emails."
She's calling her little elves. Then is what you're saying.
Exactly. She calls her elves, and we save the day. and and then we'll say, don't worry, we'll take care of it. And then if it needs to escalate to a tier 2 or tier 3 support situation, then we can handle that with with the prospective partner that we've
Yeah.
partnered with.
So at that point, you call Santa Claus back in.
I call Santa Claus and I call the lead elf and I say, Buddy the elf, what that's his name, Buddy. Come in and fix it for us. So
Great, great.
so that's
So
kind
at the
of
end of
what
the
we
day,
do.
you're really like a cloud consultant as well as a managed service provider for cloud applications and cloud integration.
Yeah, yeah, that's the Reader's Digest version right there.
I like Reader Digest, so I don't mind that you put me in that same sentence. So tell me a bit more
There you
about your
go.
company then, so guys understand
Yeah.
how well you've grown your company. Because I was really impressed how you grew that. Maybe talk a little about. I think it's very interesting the makeup of your staff as well, not just how many employees, but I know that you'd mentioned to me before you have a lot of pre-sales engineers. But are actually doing sales as well. So they're a true pre-sales engineer, but also maybe closing some of that business as well. So maybe talk about
Mhm.
how your company makeup is too.
Definitely. So we've this to be honest, this started out as a couple of years ago when in 2013, and I was working on a project for a class in college, and I said I had run across Salesforce, and I said how this isn't fair. Salesforce has all of these enterprise solutions, but yeah, again, Mrs. Claus is this small business owner. She why can't she have the same uh, resources that let's say Chips Ahoy cookie company can, if you will. And so I found that there was a lot of solutions that were out there in the cloud industry, because it was kind of in the boom. It was kind of taking off. And so we kind of sat down and I said, there needs to be a way that the business owner can come to one person, and they can buy the software from us. We can put it together for them. We're not pushy salesmen. With that said, like you were saying, we do have a sales technique, because at the end of the day, we need to sell the client, the business owner, on the different partners that or the different solutions, the SaaS providers that we've partnered with. So there is a big sales influence in that. And then so with that, we kind of sat down and we said, why don't we just make a one-stop shop? And so what we do is we started out with a friend of a friend who was a real estate broker out in California, and he needed some help with some things, and that's kind of where we said, you know what, we can do front-end web development, web design. That way they have a website to go to, their customers do, and then that kind of brings their money, their revenue source in, because they're giving that portal for the customer to buy whatever they need to buy, or take part of whatever they need to take part of. And then that kind of starts the flow of how we look at it, of building their solution. We have see, there's 25 of us total that work together as a team. Even though the label, if you will, is the founder and CEO, we're definitely a team here. We all kind of do a little bit of everything. With that said, I do have to admit, in full transparency, I have not written a line of code in my life. And when it comes to integrating different solutions, I call my right-hand man, Chad, and I say, Chad, there's some API keys that need to do some things, so these we can get some solutions. These things can talk. We can do that, right? And he says, yes, don't worry about it. And so it's a great group of people here with us. And like I said, we all kind of do a little bit of everything. For the most part, we do have about there's I want to say 10 of us, well, 10 of them, if you will, that really focus on the engineering side of it, and the other about 15 of us work on the sales per se, and marketing and business side of it. And the reason I kind of am cautious with saying sales is because, yes, we do sell. As we'll get to it in a little bit later, we look at ourselves as an extension of the sales teams of our partners, because we need to be as well as educated and versed, and be able to sell every part of the solution to our clients.
Sure, but you're pretty heavy
So.
on sales staff. I mean, if I looked at like a typical managed service provider with
Mhm.
25 people in it, most of those are going to be technicians, some support people, and then your ownership, and very very little
Right.
sales. And you're very heavy on the sales side, insofar as the resources you have
Well,
selling.
Right. Well, and the reason is because I counted up, we have close to what is this? There was close to 35 partners that are, solution providers that we partner with, and I don't expect, I mean, I can't ever remember all of them, let alone how every one of them work. And so what we do is we kind of have we kind of
Specialties?
uh, exactly. I don't want to call, I won't say groups, but yeah, especially. So I have, two or three or four, depending on the partnership that we have. Are they're good on, let's say Jim Bob. It knows, he knows Salesforce. He's certified in Salesforce. Let's say, he's certified in Microsoft, QuickBooks. He's taking Crescendo training and maybe even, let's say, Ingram Micro, some training with them to do uh, the license ordering through them. And so they're good on that. So that's why we kind of have a bigger sales side of it. But a lot of that also is doing that because we're focusing on inbound marketing. So if we do a webinar, let's say with Freshdesk, and we partner with them, I'm going to have one of my guys on the team who works, with Freshdesk and knows Freshdesk like, back of his hand. But at the same time, we might have a webinar that's with, I don't know, Pantheon, for example, who we partner with for a platform to build and develop, different WordPress and Drupal sites for our clients. And so it's a little bit of everything, and that's why we need to have that large, sales organization or business part of the organization.
Sure, sure. And I do want to stop just real quick here, and we have some questions coming in. And
Mhm.
Michael, I'll get to yours in a moment here. I think we have an area coming up where we'll talk more about Michael's question, but and we have some other ones in. But please keep typing your questions, and we will try to address them as much as we possibly can. If not, get answers to you afterwards. But just type your questions in. Now, the verticals you saw when we talked about it, you're doing a lot of startups. And you focus a lot on startups and nonprofits. You don't do a lot outside those verticals. It's kind of a specialty for you. Um, and your average employee size of companies is anywhere up to 250 users. And I think what your sweet spot's probably 50 to 250. Is that about right?
Yeah, you're exactly correct. Our sweet spot, I would say, would be about 50 to 150. I would say is the sweet spot. And you're right. We don't like to dabble in the medical field. We don't like to dabble too much in the financial industries for the pure fact of the stringent PCI laws. We have to be compliant with that. Medical, you start working and getting your hands dirty with HIPAA laws, and it just adds a lot of lawyer time and lawyer money that that I don't have to spend, to be honest. But that doesn't mean that that we wouldn't, like I was saying the other day. But we don't go after that market. But I've always had a thing for startups. That's kind of my little my hobby on the side is working with startups and entrepreneurs. So that's kind of where we like to work with them and focus on them and help them be successful. Because if they're successful, then they're going to come back and keep spending money with us, and we're going to keep spending money with the SaaS vendors that are out there. And so with that, but then we kind of focus on the real I can't even talk today. The real estate brokers that are out there, the real estate agency, the real estate field. We've done a lot of work with them, and we've done a lot of work with companies that have started out maybe as mom and pop stores that have wanted to make an appearance in the e-commerce side, and as well. And we're actually just found out the other day that we're going to be doing getting involved in the education and the edu sector as well. So we're kind of looking forward to that.
Great, great. And then you mentioned a lot of the main applications you've already told you keep peppering out through your conversation, which is great. Then the number of seats that you manage. Yeah, you're up to
Mm-hmm.
25 employees in basically 2 years, almost 3 years, and that's some really good growth. And you got some good seats under management
Mm-hmm.
too. What's kind of your average seat management?
Yeah, I would say on average, it's about 75. And over the years, we've had 75 clients, which has come out to just about 5,000 seats. And now, with that said, we don't manage all of those seats. So some of those clients, the majority of the ones, especially at the very beginning, they do the whole take the keys and do it themselves.
Hmm.
But and a lot of the management side of that, we don't. We're not going to sit there and we're not going to be your sales team for you, for our client. But we will, make sure that the data is, the CRM's up to date, backups are done, the stuff that nobody even really wants to do anyways, but somebody has to.
Right.
And so that's kind of what we do with that.
You should manage about 5,000 seats, and if you're not management, you're still getting some revenue
Yeah.
from the applications that you put out there. So you're
Mhm.
still getting some revenue from them. Michael had a good question that I think I'll take up here, and his question
Mhm.
was, as a company, when you're talking with your clients and you're designing their solution stuff, how do you handle the approach with different departments within um, the client when you're putting software in? Like, for example, companies might have facilities management, legal department, a finance department, HR department, sales department. Do you handle the departments differently?
Uh, well, yes, and so what it is, a lot of the times when we work with the client, they're looking for a maybe a way to bring their sales team up to the cloud, or if you will, for sake of argument, and so working, with a sales pipeline, CRM, and then, with that, we start getting into like the IP phones and hosted PBX, because we want to make sure that when phones are, when the clients are calling in for them, that their information is pulling up in their CRM. As far as, with the different departments, if a client, let's say, wants to do a whole company revamp of everything, then we handle each department separately. But with that said, we still make sure that each department's solutions or each department's software integrates with everything else. Because our big thing is I'm not going to sell something to a client that does not integrate with everything else, because that's a headache. I mean, how many times, with Microsoft Word, for example, did you try to do a mail merge and it just would not merge from Excel? For whatever reason, you would have problems. We don't like to do that. We like to create simple, easy to use, and as I always say, pretty solutions for the clients, because we try to make it easier for them. We don't want to make their lives harder. So we find solutions that are very well integrated, that have that API key, or have a way for our engineers to sit there and work with, maybe, let's say, their dev team, and come up with a solution if there isn't one already. Because my biggest thing is, if there's a will, there's a way, and by gosh dang it, if a customer needs something done, we will figure out a way to get it done.
So you work to make sure that whatever other applications they're using and departments in the way that they need to use a piece of software, you help them integrate that with their different line of business applications or HR systems or whatever.
Exactly. Exactly, and let's say that they're using an old we won't mention names, HR platform that is, or even an accounting platform. I'll throw out a name. Maybe they're using Peachtree or QuickBooks, that is, localized, and it's that they don't like to play pretty with the cloud. And so what we would do in that instance is we would sit there and say, for example, we're a QuickBooks Online reseller, and so I would sit there and say, okay, so you guys are currently using QuickBooks on premise. Why don't we go ahead and bring that to go? Or if they're using Peachtree on premise, or whatever the case may be, we'll find a solution and we'll try to add that, to the mix. So we'll sit there and say, you have your legal department that uses, a filing system or a system to be able to keep track of everything in the legal department, but that's an on-premise solution, and it's not really, you need to we need to find something that can bring that to the cloud. Here's a solution that does legal, the legal software for the, that's cloud-based. And with that being said, it's going to, obviously then save you money. We sell them on that. So if they don't have something that will work with what we're putting together, we'll find it for them, and we'll pretty much to get them to say yes, to agree to add that, because otherwise it's just going to become a headache for them.
Yeah, sure, sure. So some other questions are coming in. We're going to move on to the next session here. because we have some other content here that really is important that I want to be able to cover. So choosing a vendor, and you and I've talked a lot about SaaS vendors and how you choose a SaaS vendor. Let's discuss some of the criteria you use when you look for a new SaaS vendor, what the types of things you're looking for. And really, the first part of the topic was, do you want to be treated more like a reseller or referral partnership? How do you view that?
Definitely. So, and this is, and I can't, we can't speak for all of the cloud service brokerages out there. I want to say that first. I can only express how we feel here at JCPDI and how we kind of see things. And what that is we really prefer a reseller, a channel reseller type of situation. And with that said, is because what we do is we're not just giving you, we're not a blogger. If you're a blogger, if you're in the media, if you're per se, those are great solutions to have a referral program up and running. And by any means, there's some great referral programs that are out there. But when you're coming in from our standpoint to where we're actually more or less buying or purchasing the software or the licenses or the seats from that vendor or that SaaS provider, we don't want to give you guys, if you will, our clients' information for the pure fact of then you start, your sales team then starts calling on our clients, and then they start getting confused and they kind of get wishy-washy. Whereas the channel reseller avenue, if you will, that is more of a we personally we'll work with you. You're the vendor. You have that solution that we need. You're going to work with us one-on-one. We'll put the deal. We'll do deal registration. We'll put information into your CRM or however we need to do that. But we work with you guys. You guys work with us. That way it's hey, I got a phone. If something comes up and I need something with Crescendo because I know that they can do what this client needs. I can give them a call and say, hey, we have a last minute client that needs something real quick. What can we can we do something? And we have that relationship built with companies. So it's very easy. It's very nice. I can pick up the phone and call anybody. A lot of them are on first name basis. We kind of have that rapport. Whereas when you start doing referrals, it gets messy for us, because we don't know who has made contact with with our client, what's been said, because we've already sold them on the solution. So we don't, by that time we don't need anyone to try to resell it to them again. And so with the reseller avenue, if you will, it provides us that that I don't want to say white labeled effect, because the client knows who's providing the systems to them or the software to them, but it makes it easier for them, and it makes it easier for us because I don't have 20 clients calling me on my cell phone asking me why ABC Cloud is trying to sell them and won't stop calling them. They don't have to deal with that. So
Because at the end you're
it makes it a lot
designing,
easier.
at the end you're designing a solution for your client. And if you just refer something
Exactly.
and a vendor starts calling them up, it's like, what are you doing? I thought you had this
Exactly.
covered for me, right? So, it kind of
Exactly.
confuses, and when you talk about reseller too, I think it's important, because we do get a lot of app vendors on here too, or that listen to these recordings, is it isn't so important from a reseller or a referral partnership. It's not necessarily important if the vendor who's billing the client. If the vendor decides to bill the client
Right.
and then they're going to cut you a commission, that's fine. It can be a
Hmm.
commission type piece. A referral is more of like whenever you're putting a link on your website or you fill out a
Exactly.
referral form, it goes to the SaaS vendor, then the SaaS vendor does the sale, and then they report back to you if they've sold it or not, and then they give you whatever they give you.
Ex-
Whereas a more of a
Exactly.
reseller thing is like, hey, look, our business model, it's about a business model match, where
Hmm.
they're cutting you a commission on a monthly basis or a quarterly basis for the software it's done, and even if they charge the client or if you charge a client, they charge you. But it's about the business model that you're out there
Exactly.
with.
Exactly, and it's almost more of a and I use this term lightly with this of a strategic partnership, because like you said, we don't care how the billing needs to happen. That's not that. It's all on how it's being approached to the client.
Hmm.
And it's I mean, yeah, we don't care if the SaaS vendor needs to bill, the client, or if they need to bill us, and then we bill the client. We'll do whatever to make sure that everyone gets paid, because I'm all about making money, and I know the SaaS vendors are too. And so whatever's easiest for everyone to be successful. We're very flexible with that. It's not a blog. I don't, what good is it for me to sit there and talk with my team and create a solution and then go and click on my own link to sell my own thing? It just, if I had a blog and I was a blogger, or I had a podcast, that'd be different. But yeah.
Yeah, and it's and that's why it's called a partnership, right? It's a partnership that you both want to be happy. And then about the
Exactly.
business model, a lot of SaaS vendors miss I think today, currently, a lot of them are missing the part that you're part of their sales team, you're part of their sales force, and you need the same materials, you need the same pieces, and the same business model that is conducive to doing business together. You're actually out there selling their brand, and you're selling their company.
Exactly, and it's like I touched on at the beginning. We look at ourselves as an extension of the sales team, that's out there. And with that said, we don't ask a lot as a partner with from the partner programs. But what if we're going to be the easiest way to explain it is you hire a new guy named John on your sales team. There are people we do partner with out there that do charge extraordinary amounts of money to their partners to take a class, to be trained on their system, that we're going to then go and pay more money to you to go take a test now on your system, to go and resell your system. I think it's, again, I can't speak for every CSP out there. I can only speak for us and our experience. But I think it's you're not going to charge Jimmy, who you just hired in onto your sales team. You're not going to charge him $2,500. Welcome to ABC Cloud. Can you write me a check for $2,500, because we're going to put you through an 8-hour training course. And then once that's done, I need you to pay me another $500 so we can make sure that you can take the test so you're certified. That way you can sit on the on the Salesforce so you can sell my stuff. And so with that, we need to be treated, if you will, almost like that sales, that sales team, because we go to events, we go to expos, we go to conferences, we go to networking opportunities, and we're always selling. I always have, on the back of my business card, we use an awesome print company that allows us to put different partner logos on the back of every card. So, one card will have 3 or 4 logos. Another, you take the next card out of the stack, it has 3 or 4 other of our partner logos. So we're not only, are we marketing us, but again, we're marketing and selling, the SaaS vendor, the SaaS provider that's out there. And so that comes to, whether it comes down to marketing, whether it comes down to, sales tools, webinars, the training, because there's nothing more embarrassing than going and working with the client and say, I know this the solution would be perfect, but you know what? Let me give their sales team a call, or their marketing team, so I can get you some information on that. Because or let me call them and see if I can set up a demo so you can see how that works. We shouldn't have to do that. We should just be like, you're kind of iffy, let's say, on using Xero as your accounting software. No problem. Do you have 5 minutes tomorrow or 20 minutes tomorrow to sit down, and we'll dial up a webinar, and we'll actually, we go in and we'll create that demo account that we have, or that NFR, that not for resale license we have. And I don't know how many times we may only have one license that we're able to use as a demo, but I will put every logo for Mrs. Claus's cookies that I can find online, and I will make that so whenever I do that demo with her, she all of a sudden she sees Mrs. Claus's cookies everywhere, and right there, if she sees it and I'm talking and I'm passionate about it, just like the rest of the sales team, she's not going to say no, because she can actually envision and see her company, and of course we put good numbers in there, so it looks like her company's being very, very successful with whether it's a phone system, whether it's an email marketing system, so we do a lot of work to make sure that our clients are happy and that they're getting the solutions that they need.
Exactly, and the other thing too is that as being part of their sales force, you're not asking for a salary or benefits.
Uh-uh. Exactly.
So
So we're cheaper. So we're cheap. We're saving you money by, you don't have to pay my, you don't have to pay my insurance bill. You don't have to make sure that, if I'm working over 40 hours a week, that it's not time and a half. Exactly. We're saving you hundreds of thousands of dollars. And the only thing that we ask in return is just the tools that we need. That way we can be successful at reselling your awesome solution that you've already created, that everybody already wants.
yeah, and we're kind of bleeding into the next topic, because one of the first criteria you look at is what type of program is the vendor
Mhm.
offering? Is it resale? Is it just a referral where I got to click a link or fill out a form and they sell it? And you definitely prefer the resale piece, and that's kind of what you look for. Not that you won't use the other one if it makes sense for the
Exactly.
client, but um, what you prefer and what you really go to market with is the one that's providing reseller. And we started bleeding into your next main criteria. So as we put these into uh, orders of priority that you look at, is there a partner enablement program? I mean, what are they giving you? And you'd already started mentioning it. What are they giving me to make me successful in the marketplace? And again, treating me as part of the sales force.
Exactly, and this is this is where I get real passionate about, and I'm not using Crescendo
You mean
just
you weren't
because.
passionate before?
Well, you know me. But I tell you what, and I sent him an email, and I didn't hear back, but so I hope that it's okay that I'm going to go into some little details here. But Crescendo has, I hands down, probably the best partner enablement and partner portal that is out there. Because first off, I won't use names. Well, I will. I don't care. What are they going to do? Fire me? So Microsoft, they have great partner programs, great things out there, but there is so much information. I mean, their partner handbooks like a freaking encyclopedia. And with that said, it's I go in there. We sign up. We renew every year. I don't know what to do. If I have a new sales guy that comes in, I get him a Microsoft partner access, and he's like, okay, so I signed up, I got my email, but what link do I click on now? Because there's 500,000 of them. Crescendo has it perfect. You go, you sign your agreement, you decide everything's going to be great, you guys are going to be great partners and whatnot. You get your login information, and it's just one login information for the entire company. And you go there and you decide, is it a direct sales, channel resale, or referral? Really easy, A, B, or C. Well, okay, so we're going to go channel. We click on channel, and it's clean. It's very simple. You have some links on the right-hand side. Or not even links. They're almost they're little boxes, because once you click on it, they pop open. Let's say you click on sales or sales tools. In that little box, I have the quote generator. I have the credit authorization agreements if they need to ask for credit. They have sales tools. So as far as like the detailed part of, let's say like a Yealink T48G, which is an awesome phone, my sales guys have all the stats on that. They have everything that they need, as well as a sheet that says, okay, for a new client, this is the required information that we need to get an account up and spun up and running. And so it's almost the dummy's guide to how do I create a Crescendo account that I'm reselling. It's you got to have obviously like the company's name and so forth and so on. But it's a guide to where anybody who needs to, literally, whether they're on the sales side of the team or if they're on the engineering side of the team, they can log into here and find exactly what they need within 30 seconds, and go from there. And the best part, I personally have not seen another company that we've partnered with offer this, but they have in the marketing section, it's the website copy. And this makes my job so much easier. All I do is, because we like to, and we're actually tonight at midnight, tomorrow morning at midnight, if you will, we're launching the new site, and it's each of our partners we're going to kind of spotlight. They're going to have their own page on our site. It's going to kind of go into detail about them. Crescendo's already done this work for me. All I do is I create a page for them with a certain title of the page, and I put in this literally 3 lines of code that's just copy and paste, and I have everything that I need for my client, for clients to see or to look at right there. And let's say they're going to have a great Cyber Monday flash sale. They don't have to worry about telling me and then making sure that my website's up to date, because everything that they do from Crescendo's office, and anything that they need, if they want to do a flash sale, if they want to add another phone or add another equipment or whatever the case may be, they change it from their end, and that changes all the other partners' websites. So that page, that Crescendo page on my site, is going to be the same as the Crescendo page and Mexico. It's going to be the same page that's in, a partner with them, and let's say in New Zealand, because we put that same line of code in. They change it, they add what they need to, they take away what they need to. They if they change up some wording, or let's say they get a new logo, they change it from that side, and it just goes out to everybody who has the 3 lines of code in their website. And it's like I said, I get passionate. I could talk hours and hours and hours about the partner
Yeah,
program.
we don't have that much time on that.
We don't. But it's fantastic.
Yeah,
so,
but
yeah.
At the bottom line is, and one thing I'm going to clarify, Crescendo is one of our sponsors today, but this was not set up. I mean, this is something when I started through this, and Preston just said, "Hey, I'm using this as a guide," because what we're really talking about is how whenever you're looking for a SaaS vendor, is it a reseller or referral program, and then 2 is how are they going to enable you to sell? How you and you can all see how Preston's so excited about this product, because it makes his life much easier in going out there and selling a product. He's got all his marketing collateral in one partner portal, and their sales presentations and web copy to set up the website, and ways of him to do demos and stuff like that. And I think that a lot of SaaS vendors, especially when it comes to software, which really doesn't cost them that much, to provide demo accounts for their partners, you really should, if you are a SaaS vendor out there or you're talking to a SaaS vendor, they really should provide you something there, because it's what you use to sell with. The more familiar you are with their software, and I think that's lost sometimes in a lot of different partners out there.
It is, and like you said, how much does it really cost a company that is as a software company to give up 1 to maybe, let's say, at the most 3 licenses or 3 instances of their product, that's in return going to make them triple the amount that they would.
Yeah, you're going to sell 5,000 seats of it. You're going to sell 300,
right,
400, 500 seats. And it's not like you're asking for 25 copies free so you can run your organization on it. If you want to use it for your organization, you'll buy the licenses, but you need something to be able to do a good demo, to train your sales staff on it, and it's something you can show the client. And then, it also, it's always good to have demo accounts for the client, because what better way of demoing it than to put something, put the client in the cloud on it for 30 days and show them their name in that software.
Exactly, and that, to be honest, that's the number one way we have. If we have a like, let's say Mrs. Claus doesn't want to, she's coming up to a $20,000 bill, but we want to add something else. Let's say, I don't know, that's going to be an extra $10,000 because it's going to be some verbose thing. That's what we do. We'll sit there and we'll take one of our licenses, our NFRs or our demos, and we'll say, try it for 14 days. We'll go ahead and just in that one instance, we're gonna put all your stuff. I'm gonna brand the heck out of it for her, so she sees it like it's gonna be, and she can use it for 14 days. Obviously, we keep ourselves as admins, so we have total control over that. And she sees and she works with it, and there's no reason for her to say no. And that's how we close a lot of those sales that are real iffy. We say, what? Here, use one of our licenses. We're going to set it up for you. We're going to put your stuff in here for you. That way you have an idea. Any questions you have, ask us. Play around with it. And then they say, what? That's great. I need this now. It's not I want it now. It's I need this now in my life.
Again, it goes back to the business model. I mean, if a SaaS vendor has a team, a sales team on staff that they're paying salary to and everything, and they're trying to close a deal, of course they're going to have a free demo. Because it's an internal sales staff, but yet they don't let their people out there that don't charge them any, aren't asking for, to be a W-9 employee basically, and to take a salary. They won't even give. They don't like to do that, and it just amazes me. But here on this side here, I have another question from Michael. Actually, with a really good question that I wanted to ask you, and I think might here be a good point, because when it comes down to partner enablement, I always coach or I try and coach all of the vendors that we have in our marketplace at SaaSMAX. that they should also help their channel understand what are companion products and what are other types of products and services that can be sold alongside their software to increase the take or the the quality of the revenue that they're making from their clients. And Mike was asking something along the same lines. And I hear a lot from different other born in the cloud type of companies that said that they were surprised about how much hardware they're actually selling because of the
Mhm.
SaaS apps. And Michael's asking, is there any certain applications that you find that have a good hardware drag with them, such as like an enterprise content management system with printers and stuff? What type of products do you see that are driving additional sales for you for hardware?
Right. And with that, we partner with Meraki, which is a Cisco company, for all of our networking hardware stuff, that we need. And because what that is they've merged the two. They merged that hardware, and they merged the cloud. So like let's say your client, they need a whole new, or not even a whole new, but they need a cloud-based management solution for their IT department. Because let's say maybe there's only, they have 2 or 3 locations, but they only have one IT guy. So we say, okay, well then what, we partner with Meraki. That one guy could be in Timbuktu, and yet he can log into the Meraki cloud, and be able to manage the entire network from wherever he is. I mean, they have an iPad apps for it too. So I mean, you literally could be like in an airport going to a conference, and and Mrs. Claus's network goes down, and she's not getting any internet. Doesn't know why. She can't figure it out. It's plugged in, the lights on. I don't know what's going on with it. So you have Buddy the Elf, with his iPad, and he can sit there and say, you know what, this is the problem. This is what I need you to do, because you have everything. So when it comes down to that mix of it, Meraki has done a perfect job with it, and that we partner with them, because they're, again, like Crescendo, their partner portal is, it's very simple. You log in, you have your training, you have your marketing or
Well,
your
the
sales.
thing too is with a company like Crescendo, they have the drag of the phone systems themselves. Actually, the phones they'll
Mhm.
sell the physical phones, so you're getting the hardware there as well, and
Exactly.
you
Well,
get a
yeah,
portion of
exactly.
that. You get a portion of that take. And I know from my experience with talking to a lot of cloud providers out there, a lot of the point of sale systems, even though they're in the cloud, point of sales,
Uh-huh.
POS systems, they're selling a lot of pads and iPads and stuff along with that. They can't, they're selling just a ton of them to use that POS system. So they
Oh,
sell
well,
a lot of
exactly.
mobile devices. So yeah.
Oh yeah, and then there is, I mean, I will sit there and when I say when I say that we look for things that are pretty, it's things that are the UI, is able to, not bore me, and that goes along with, I would rather have a sales team, like let's say at a retail store, all have an iPad that they can do their sales right off their iPad, and be able to take the credit card right there and completely change the way that we think of going to the mall and shopping, or the way that some restaurants are going out, to where the waiters are using iPads, or they're using iPhones, if you will, as the order taking devices. I mean, actually making it a lot more interactive, and all that is based on the cloud. So if you have a solution that that's out there, maybe you're a new cloud provider of a solution. Think of ways that you can really make your solution robust, as far as, like you said, adding the hardware to it. Square, I mean, look at Square, for example. They when they first started, all it was the little card readers. You could take mobile payments anywhere. Now they have their whole POS systems, and it's not just an iPad. I mean, they resell the printers, they resell the cash tills, they resell the scanner, the UPC scanners. So what started out as a company that was just as a credit card swiper, is now in the actual. I mean, I don't know how many times I go to a store and their cash register is Square.
Right.
And that's crazy. I never thought of that when they first came out. I mean, all they do is just swipe credit cards, and now you're going to
Right.
sell me a cash tool as well. So
hmm
yeah, it's great. And it's a great revenue source.
So so that's the second one is the how does a partner enable you? The last one really, and I don't want to spend a lot of time on this because we don't have a lot of time, and we have some
Yeah.
really good questions that I want to get to here. And we may, and for you, for those of you who can stay, I think we're going to run this a little long to answer some of these questions. We got some good questions here that I want to try and answer a little bit, but I'm just going to cover this slide real briefly. Uh, I don't think we have to get into it much more than that. But your third piece is events that the vendor conducts. So the different partner events
Mhm.
that they do, and because you find a lot of great education in them and peer meetings, being able to
Yep.
meet with your peers and learn how they're doing things. Webinar events such as trainings for you, but even doing webinars with you with the clients, or
Mhm.
there's several SaaS vendors I work with that they have a weekly product demo that that all their partners can invite their clients to, and it's kind of an open invitation. Uh,
Yep.
which are very helpful for the customer demos. And then, I know a lot of vendors that set up partner peer groups that you can sit and talk with some of your other peers and learn how they're selling the software and stuff. But I really don't want to put a lot of time on this. If
Yeah.
you just
No.
want to kind
No.
of recap that in like 30 seconds, that would be great.
Yeah.
And we'll get to our
We
questions.
Yeah, definitely. So I love to go to conferences, and I like to bring my team with me. But again, it comes down to you don't charge Johnny the sales guy $2,000 to go to your own conference to resell your own stuff. As strategic partners, if you will, we like to host events, we like to go to events, but we don't think that we need to have to fork out an arm and a leg to be able to go and network at an event and get to meet people face to face. I mean, it's partner events, partner expos, partner conventions. It should be a benefit, and because it's a benefit of both sides.
Hmm.
Because again, we're going to start putting those on as well, and so I'm not going to charge. I'm not going to charge anybody that we partner with to come to my to our convention. That's
Right.
simply.
And then last question here, and this again, 30 seconds. What is it you like about us?
Yep.
How do we provide
Um,
value to you?
you guys make and again, it's all about how we can make my life and my team's life so much easier. If I have a client that needs something, and I can easily go to SaaSMAX, go to the portal, or log in, and we have a resale. We're as a reseller with you guys. I can easily search what I'm looking for. If I need a CRM, if I need a PBX solution, whatever I need, type it in. I have a million and a half options, and a lot of what I like is it's not just the big names that you would think. It's not just the Salesforce and Microsofts out there. It's brand new companies. You guys have so many solutions that you guys work with, and not only that, but you guys actually care about the people that in the businesses like truly honestly care, because the stories that that I've heard you talk about, Clinton, is with we're working with a new client here, and we're helping them shape their partner program because they want to create one. They want to get into they want to get into this channel world, and so we're helping them do that. And it's just perfect. You guys, it's a godsend. You make my life easy, and you're changing the world one SaaS vendor at a time.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a self promotion for us there, so I appreciate that. So
Yeah,
questions
definitely.
here. So I got a set of questions here from Michael and Oleg and a couple others, um, and it's kind of there's a little follow on question to it, so you might want to be a little brief on the answers to some extent. But one of the questions is, what's the average markup margin do you see on the software from the software vendors?
I would definitely like to say 100%. No, it's usually it really depends, because it's on the software side, because obviously yeah, we'll say anywhere between 12 and 25%, and that 25% was with one partner, but usually it's closer to the 12 to 15% of the annual revenue, and then of course you get the recurring revenue, because usually it's like Meraki, they sign a 3-year licensing agreements with them, so we're guaranteed 3 years worth of money coming in. And
Mhm.
so yeah.
Yeah, most of the average I see on just the pure software Meraki has some hardware to it, so that's probably a little bit lower on it. But most of the on average, what we see from SaaSMAX and the SaaSMAX vendors is it's between 20 and 30%, most between
Okay.
20 and 25% on the reseller type model. And even if it's a referral type model, I still see some pretty decent margins there from the vendors, at least that we have in our marketplace um, on that particular piece. So it's very interesting when you look at that, and then you go on from Ollie's questions to Michael, another one Michael had. he's also asking, are there certain applications that drive higher margins from consulting services for you than others? What type of apps do you find that, so you make your 15, 12, 25% off the software.
Right.
Which one of those areas in the SaaS application world do you find the best consulting revenue?
And actually, we don't. I guess I probably should have gone over this. So we charge like a flat fee, and it's not. So we don't do like necessarily. Not that we wouldn't do. We don't do like CRM consulting. All of our clients, they come to us. We consult them with everything. We work with them on every solution they need. And where we really make our money is the managed side of it at the end of it. So whereas we're keeping it up to date. If it's like, let's say, even if it's their website, that we've used WordPress for, we'll go and we'll make sure that all the plugins and all the themes and all the everything's up to date with that. We'll make sure that if they need to have anybody have a 10,000 leads dumped into their CRM or to their auto dialer, we can do that for them. So that's really where we focus the most of our money making. Because again, when I started this, it wasn't fair for the small business people to be charged $25,000 just for a CRM. And so it was how can we work with these other companies and these providers to be able to offer the same stuff that the big companies, that the big names are having and doing, but at a price point that they can afford without necessarily having all the bells and whistles. So again, we don't really charge too much. It's more or less of a flat fee for the project, but we make the money on the back end at the MSP side of it.
I'm sorry, I had myself on mute while you were talking. I was going to jump over to Anthony real quick on one of his questions, get someone else into the mix on their questions. For Meraki, do you manage the networks, or you just sell the management licensing?
No, we don't. We just sell the management license. We had thought we had a client that we were in talks with possibly being their IT department, but we might look at that down the road. But we feel that if we did that, it would be overwhelming for us. But yeah, we just sell the licensing for that.
So
Now I can refer. I have a lot of freelancers, if you will, or people that do that, act as a virtual IT or a department, and we definitely refer those out to them.
Okay, great. And there's quite a few questions actually around your actual billing model. So some of the questions range from: are you charging service fees by project, or do you just charge it by a flat monthly subscription for the entire setup and consulting, or do you charge some upfront fees for designing the project? Can you kind of really go into what you are billing for? Because I know you're not making your living just on the residuals and the commissions.
Right.
So
Right. So what we do is we charge 50% of the total bill, and so and that's what's due up front. And when we say the total bill, so we take the licenses, the total cost of what is due from the SaaS vendors to our clients. So the licensing for everything, and then we up that by 15%, and then that's what we make. That's what we keep. And so it's going to depend on whatever they need of how big that price is. But we require 50% deposit up front once they sign the proposal. We do all of the initial consulting work, if you will, that initial fact finding. We do that free of charge because that's the right thing to do. That's what we believe. Because I'm not going to sit there and charge. Again, Mrs. Claus, X amount of dollars, thousands of dollars to sit there, and we don't come up with a solution that's perfect for her, and then she has to go, and fork out thousands of dollars for that. It doesn't take us that long. It doesn't cost me any money to sit there and talk to Chad or talk to Dylan and sit there and say, okay, guys, what can we do with this client? It takes us, we know what they need. We have a good idea about the partners, and we kind of go from there. So that's kind of how we do that. And then, so once they sign that agreement, 50% of the project is due, and that's for the pure fact of we can make sure that it's a serious client, and whatnot, and that everyone's going to get paid. And then we can, the last 50%, we can either do it as a milestone. So then, like, let's say once 90% of the work is done, if they want to do it that way, then the 25% of what's left is done, and then at the end, when the project is all set and complete, and they've had a time to go through everything, and they've been trained, and the demo's been done, they've gone through it once or twice, then that's when the 100% of the bill is due, or actually I should say what is left of the bill is due, and we make sure that we keep, we don't give them admin access that until that every penny is in that bank account and it's accounted for. Granted, with that said, circumstances do come up. We're not evil men. We're very compassionate people, and we'll go ahead and we work with them. They work with us. We just partnered with a company called Direct Capital, and we're actually going to start being able to offer financing for this. It's going to be kind of a first.
Yeah, I was just going to mention that. I didn't know if you wanted to say that or not, because I was going to say I think everyone here would be surprised that you have found a way to actually finance all the labor and all the SaaS licensing.
Exactly, and it's a way that the vendors that are listening are going to love it, because what it is so I have an invoice, or we put a thing together. Microsoft, we tell Microsoft, let's say that they need 600 licenses. I don't know. We get an invoice for that. I submit that invoice to Direct Capital, and then Direct Capital puts the money for that in a bank account that only Microsoft has access to. So it's not like it's a really interesting way. So the client doesn't ever get the money. They are providing the funding for the SaaS providers that are out there. So if you have let's say Crescendo, we put together a thing for them. We get the total. We get an invoice from Crescendo. We submit that to Direct Capital, and as long as the client gets approved, which we know within usually like 2 or 3 days, then the money literally is released right then. And so it's a faster way even for the SaaS vendors and the SaaS providers to get paid. So we're one of the first, if not the first, to offer that. So it's going to be exciting.
Mm-hmm. But then, just to follow up though on your model, because it's and I think too, I can tell the people too that if they'd like to touch base with you and have a conversation offline, one-on-one, you're more than willing to talk to some people. You like to share and talk.
Definitely.
Yeah. So if anyone would like to, some contact information from Preston, you can reach out to me, and we can get that to you. We're really running down out of time here. We're 6 minutes over, and you may already see something bouncing on my screen telling me my next meeting's coming up. But I'm just looking through here to see real quick if there's any other really burning questions here. And Meraki is Moraki. Is that the name of the company?
No, Meraki is MER. So Mary Edward Romeo AKI. So you just go to Meraki.com, or I'm sure it's off of Cisco's site as well.
Yeah, and then Michael McKenna is asking for the URL for Crescendo, and I think it's just Crescendo.
CREXENDO.com.
Yep, and you can also find it, Michael, on there. There definitely, if you go in and look at unified communications and stuff on SaaSMAX and look up that category, you will also find them there. And I'm sure we can make an introduction for you as well if you like. So just let me know. I think you have my contact information as well. Good. So I think we're going to tie that up right there. I don't, there's some more questions there, but again, I'm Clint Gatewood and Vice President of Channel Management here in Matchmaking. If you have any other additional questions, you can send them to us. Please try and take the survey at the end. I would greatly appreciate that, so we can continue to improve this programming. It's going very well. Partners love these types of sessions, and we do have them every third Friday. I just got to figure out a day in December, whether I'm going to do one in December or not. Might wait till January, but you will be seeing our announcements on it. So Preston, thank you very much for your time, and everyone, thank you for joining us here today.
Hey, thank you, and thank you guys. And again, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to get a hold of me.
All right. Hey, thanks a lot. I really appreciate it, Preston.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.